So here we are exactly where we left off. We are at the funnel. This is the 5x5 face funnel. It's the one that I've shared, although there's going to be a lot more coming. And we already did our tour of the dashboard, went through ClickFunnels overall, and then we've gone through the funnel settings, the funnel steps, what the different tabs do, and how to navigate in there. This is where we're going to this yellow button, this edit page. Oh, I'm navigating on the Facebook side of things, and there we go. Special sometimes. All right, so welcome to the editor. This is super fun and exciting. So this is like kind of your editor main navigation up here at the top. They all will serve very important purposes, all right? So first thing that I actually want to talk to you about is the very, very important step anytime you are editing a funnel or thinking about creating a funnel, you're doing any work in a funnel. I want you to think about what is that going to look like for mobile. So many of your customers are going to be checking this on their phone. I'm sure some of you watching this right now, you're on your device. And so it's really important that you either build in mobile, which I don't prefer to do, or get really used to coming over to the mobile view and changing and tweaking anything that you need to optimize it. Either way, you're going to be designing for desktop and mobile at the end. I mean, if you're smart. And then here's your desktop view. Settings. All right, this is going to be important. You're never going to want to actually publish a funnel and put it out there for people to use until you have, oh, sorry, I got something in my eye. Why? Always, right when you start a video. Ah, goodness gracious, I'm dying. You're always going to want to come to the SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And this is the data that is going to show up like in thumbnail images. If you send somebody a link, you'll see this. If you send it in iMessage, you know how it'll auto-populate like a little preview. It'll be there. It'll be on Facebook, anywhere that this is shared. Your search engine optimization metadata, if you are using a cloned funnel, will be identical to whoever, whether if you're starting from fresh, you need to remember to come here before you publish, and if you're using a cloned one, you've got to remember to come here, because either way, you don't want default data going through, and you don't want, like for instance, you don't want my data going through and showing as your previews. Let's see. So that's like an example of like how you could really quickly do that. Social image. Now this is going to open up the image bank. You'll use this all the time. This is where you will be able to do things like go to Canva, create something. You can literally drop it from, like if you drag and drop, you can only drag and drop it up in this top area, this bar up here where it has like the dotted line around it. If you drop it somewhere else, it like loads that in, it's like it just messes it up. Don't do that. You end up having to go back anyways. You have some things, some really basic things in here. You have some general stock stuff. Honestly, I like a lot of their badges and like small things that are in here. I find them pretty useful. Things like locks and badges do actually have psychological value when it comes to buyers. So if you're showing your credit card information, have a lock next to it to signify the fact that you're using a secure payment processor. It really does make a difference. Little things. Okay, so this is just the stock stuff. There you go. And you can upload tons of stuff in here, all right? Anyway, so that's where you will do that. And then you'll see your cute little preview. Okay, this is so important. That closes it, but it did not save it. You have to push it again and see the gear spin for it to be saved, okay? So there's that. The background, that's self-explanatory. You can change the backgrounds of each element, which we'll go over in a moment. But if you want to change the main background, it's this spot that you do it. You can establish what your default typography is. Luxy, hey, chill. And like some of your defaults right here. Personally, I prefer oxygen over sands. Okay. I don't use their headlines very much. These are Canva images. So that's just an image. All right, so let's go over the main pieces that you will use to build your pages. So first of all, the largest pieces are sections. They are in this green color. Whoops, see how it switches what's showing? These light green, these are the sections. They correspond with up here at the top. You can use this drop down section to either add them here, manage them. I'll show you about that later. Okay, so sections. When you add them, you can, this one that I have highlighted is not full width. You can establish how wide you want it to be. I have it kind of layered on this where you've got the background there and then the images, or like kind of like the page within a page is kind of what I've got established right there. Then next is rows. They're like subsections are these rows. And when you create these, they could be, let's see, like you can add them up here. I typically end up adding them like on the spot. Oh, here you can see, here's an example of 2 columns. But there are sidebar options and then lots of columns. And then when you create a chunk of this page that you think you might use, you can actually save them and they will populate in this little section right here. When you go to add one, you can just grab that. And that goes for all these different pieces except, no, I say all these different pieces. That goes for sections, rows, and columns. So, for instance, she could save this entire 5x5 face section. Maybe she doesn't want it to be 5x5, but maybe she likes the layout. And so she knows that anytime she does a product bundle, she's going to follow this layout. This is good for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's easier for her. You're not reinventing the wheel each time trying to decide how you want your flow to go, but also your customers become used to a certain flow and they navigate through it's more comfortable, familiar, and they will continue to buy more. So she could save like the entire thing and then go in and just replace the headlines, verbiage, and things like that, but the form and function would stay. So that could go for sections, rows, and then within the rows or the columns is where you have the elements. And the elements are super fun. There's a lot of different ones. So let's say we're gonna pull this up. I'm not going to go into each element and everything that it does. And the reason I'm not going to do that is ClickFunnels already has that in their help and walkthrough section. You can do that, but I'm going to show you some of the ones that we are going to use the most frequently. Headlines and subheadlines, paragraphs. Not a fan of their bullet lists, but if you're going over a product with a lot of cool features and you're not making a graphic, I tend to make, oh, it's not gonna let me scroll down. I tend to make graphics and embed them in there because I can, you know, add little sub phrases and I can choose, I just have a lot more customization ability, but you can add an icon. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so I just added this element here. The gear is going to pull that element up and let me, here's where you can do all the different stuff. So this has got our font that we custom chose over on the settings, the typography area. Here's really something very cool. If once you're on mobile view, you can edit the mobile size to be formatted for that screen, and then no matter what you do here, it won't alter that mobile size. That allows you to keep things from getting all messed up. You see how some of the font is bold? So I could highlight this and select bold. In these settings, some elements allow you to have 2 different colors. Bold would be one color and regular would be the other. And then you can come over to themes and you can choose, like it will, this changing the theme will alter stuff. Each element, it's fun to play with all these different parts. All right, and then like for instance, you can change what your bullet icon is. So that is kind of cool if you're doing like a bullet list and you want something other than actual bullets, you want cute little icons, then this is good for that. This is your clone button. Like if you have different things that you want to be able to replicate throughout your page, you can do it like that. That was the trash can button. Going back to elements. All right, I use images a lot. I do not use image pop-ups very often, as they seem to, they're not as user-friendly. For some reason I get a lot of errors with them. Same with video pop-ups. Instead I just use regular video and images. I have not often used the audio player, although if I was doing a lesson where I had extracted the audio and I wanted people to be able to just play the audio without the video, for me I figure most people will just push play and then they're not worrying about what's on the screen if that's what they want. For your forms, whether they're opt-ins or like the buttons that you see for order buttons, pop-ups, all that kind of stuff, this is where you can create buttons or different elements for anything associated with any kind of like form. Let's go back. This creates a field where they can input their information. I learned the hard way, you must always have an email associated with it. Like even if you are collecting for a text opt-in where you're going to take the data and manually input it, you can't just have a name and a phone number field here. You have to have an email or it doesn't save. I don't know why, it's just what it's all attached to. All right, this is where they could add details. You can ask them basically whatever you want. If they need to check a box, like you can make it required or not required. Drop down boxes, and then here is the option for Facebook opt-in. You would think I would use this a lot, but I really don't. These are pretty self-explanatory. It'll put in like an entire, like here's an example of what the checkbox looks like. There. That's one of the advanced forms. Right, going down too far. All right, here is where you have seen on mine before. I use countdowns a lot. Now these are really handy. In fact, I think Kimberly Babbitt, you had asked in a previous video about my timer. So there are a couple different kinds, but the one that I use, here's where I go and I select how I want it to look. This is the one that I usually use. I have no idea. I just like it. You set your date and time. Hold on. Skip all the way to 2019. That'd be good. Okay, so let's make the countdown for at the end of the month. Okay, so let's say 12 a.m. Eastern time. I always make it my time zone. Whatever you want. This is when this countdown will be for. Okay, so a couple of different things you can have happen when it reaches the countdown. You can either make it so everything will just redirect to a different URL. I don't usually do that. I do show and hide elements. So the reason this is so handy for me is I can create a promotion that has a deadline and I don't have to stop what I'm doing and go take it down or be the jerk that is like, no, sorry, you can't submit that. It just disappears. So each element or piece can be selected and it'll actually highlight as you roll past them. There, see? So if I were to select that, then when the countdown times out, that piece will utterly disappear. So I can build my promotions like inside a section and then pew, it's just gone. And then I make it hide the timer as well. Like the countdown, the whole thing just disappears. It compresses up and it's just super cool. And then you can make it show something else in its place if that's relevant. Like if you had verbiage that was specifically geared towards a promotion that's disappearing, obviously you're going to want something, if it's important information or a headline like get it quick before it's gone, you might want that to change to, or appear to change to, place your order by going to, yada, yada, yada. Like maybe it's a default. So what you do is you actually create a secondary headline in its place, and that's where you select it under show these. And then it will know if the timer is on, then it's hiding the secondary headline and showing the primary, and then when the timer times out, that one will show and that one will disappear, and it completely changes your page without you doing a thing. So I love that. Is it a little complicated to figure out like as you're doing it? Sure, it is. But it's totally worth the trouble. And then of course your font. Over to advanced, you can make things wee, big or small. Move them over. And this is changing the alignment only within its own column. Changing the word. And if it were on a black background, then you might want it white. Right? Oh, let's look at pop-up. Oh, and hidden elements. So you come here and this will pull up the pop-up. You can edit whatever you want. You can add things, hide things. Pop-up settings. I sometimes will have elements that when you go to exit the page, they'll pop up. This is great for deals. This is great for giving an additional like 10% off, an opt-in for an email list, any number of things. Can it be annoying? Sure. Is it super useful? Yes. So use it wisely. You know, don't abuse them, but don't overlook that option. And then this is where you would just select don't show on exit or show on exit. Oh, so you can make it huge, do medium, and you can change all of that. Padding is just literally talking about, oops, hold on, it's using, I'm moving the little video thing now. I don't know if that moved it in the screen recording or not. But here I needed to change the, so this is when it talks about padding, it's literally talking about all of the, oh, bottoms off of the frame, but here's what actually is changed left to right. Close that out. Let's see, hidden elements and sections and rows. If you're getting a cloned funnel, sometimes you can have trouble with form submission if there's some kind of input, like a name or something that's required and hidden, and then people are trying to click submit and it won't go through. And the reason could be that if there's anything hidden, and that would be like that. But sometimes like you might make something, oh, here we go. There we go. So this is like something that I had up until the kickoff. And then I had it go hide. Well, everybody that clones my funnel, you can go through and you can find the pieces. Oh, there's one somewhere. Oh, so this is a promo. So, oh, it's moving it around. So these are some of the promo things that like I added and have disappear. So this is another timer. So I had initially, I put up this page, I promoted it, and it was mostly empty except for my teaser video. And I had the countdown leading to when the event would begin. This allowed me to start promoting it before it was even built, because sometimes I need things to stretch out a little bit so that I can finish getting them done. I have a tendency to share them in the moment and then have to like scramble to catch up. And then at 10 a.m. on the day that it kicked off, everything appeared because I was building it and hiding it and attaching it to the timer to show at the so there was countdown to the event starting, and then there was countdown. The promos began when the event began, and then they had 12 hours, well, at least on the original. We ended up having a tornado warning that night, so I didn't get to promote it as much as I would have, so I ended up extending it. It would have been like a 12-hour sale, and so that's when they could get different promos that then later disappeared. There. So now those are hidden again. And here. Okay. So this was the piece that spelled it out. So this, without it, you can see what I did was I am rolling up. Okay. So over on the left-hand side, you can see, whee! Never mind, it disappears if I come off of where it's hovered. I'm showing the product values. If you look at the large spot with it's like a large gray bolded $486. If you wanted to recreate this 5x5 face, this 5-minute just everyday face with as close as you could get to the quality of the products that I sell, mainstream beauty products, $486. And then full price with my company, the same products are $228. But what I have added, here's my little shifts here. Then what I had was this promo area, which later disappeared, that I gave them. I rounded up to the nearest dollar of 10% off. With a lot of network marketing products, you are limited by how much you can discount them. And I don't like to say, oh, 10% off, because that doesn't really sound like much. Statistics show that percentages lower than like 20 to 25% really aren't that compelling. However, hearing the price difference, that is. And then you can sweeten up your stuff. I had a little gift that went out, a spring sample pack, and then free shipping. So that was only if they ordered within the promotion time. It was, whether it's extended or not, it's still a great deal. And then I have to give directions about how to order. So that is remembering hidden elements. That can be a factor. Your buttons. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot to go into this. Your buttons can do many different things. First of all, you can customize the way they look. You can customize the text on there. You can change all of the font stuff, which we've already gone over, but you can change the color of the button. You can use custom hex. You can make things opaque. I mean, not less opaque, more transparent. You can choose your color for whatever it is. So you can customize and add, shadows, hard shadows that are intense to very soft ones, text, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fluid means on button width, that means that it's how wide the button is determined by how much text you have on there. Or fill the width of the column/row that it's in. Options. Okay, everything down to like the border, to how rounded the corners are. Text shadows, blurry shadows. Text transform. This is in all of the different text editing places. You can determine whether your text, without having to remember and like manually do it, you can choose that. This is pretty cool. You can make your button attract attention. My favorite thing to do, this won't show on here because it's on a white background, but if it's gray or black or any dark color, it's literally glowing from behind it. It's like it's slightly backlit. When it says loop, that means it's just doing it no matter what. And then these, it will only do it when you hover over it. It does those things. I find those particular actions kind of annoying. I don't know why. I like the gentle rocking though. It's kind of like giving a little like wave or wiggle without being like boom in your face. And then of course button alignment. Then the most important thing is this big green button. And if you create a button, don't see warning, button action not set. So you'll always be able to tell really easily. So here are all the different things that you can make a button do. Submit a form. Remember, you've got to have email in there. Move open the pop-up, go to a website URL. Okay, when I first started, it doesn't have it. Usually it will have a placeholder of a pound sign. Okay, I thought maybe with ClickFunnels it was supposed to be like that. And like it was in place of the www. No, I made this entire funnel and every link and every place that was there was broken because I didn't realize that it was just some random placeholder. So you will replace that with your actual URL. You can have it open in the same window. Anytime I have it taking me somewhere else, I will always do open in a new tab or window because I still want this open. Like if I'm taking them somewhere besides on in the funnel, if I'm bringing anything else into the experience, maybe it's a resource or something like that, I want it to open and I want that to stay there so they can always go back and pick up where they were. Next step in the funnel, that's if there's multiple funnel steps, it'll just take them on. And then I use this a lot too. You can select where you want the button to take them. So in my case, I want to order to open the pop-up because that's where we have the information on where people order. But let's say that that actually was supposed to say, I want to watch the video, you know, so then you select that, or, oh, here we go, video row. And now when people click that button, it would take them down. It won't right now, it's gonna open up the editor. And then one important thing to know, that wasn't originally named video row. You can name, yeah, here we go. So I just named that. You couldn't, like, whenever I'm going to need something to scroll to there, so I had gone in to here and I changed this section to be named that so I could easily identify it and attach it to the scroll. Same for, you know, any piece in here. And that is, I think, all the different pieces of the editor. I do realize that's a lot of information, but I wanted it all in one video, but at least we were able to keep it under an hour. The first thing that you need to do is start to make the pieces that you will need in order to drop in your own product. It's actually pretty quick. You're going to need like some headline images if you want to use those. Make those in Canva. Here's a couple of square graphics. This is a product image here. Obviously, I'm not showing pictures of the products. I'm showing pictures of like what the product did. And another square graphic. That's all that these are right here, headlines and square graphics. And you can do videos in place of that. Another headline, another square graphic. You can see like this is what the pieces are like made up of. Video, where I'm kind of like doing my best Billy Mays impersonation, just demoing the products and showing them. Here's where you put in your pricing info. Just follow it like a template. Just drop in your information. Or if you sell the same products, then just come up with what promo you want to use. I would suggest if you want to do the 5x5 face, you can use all my stuff. It's up for grabs for anybody. But definitely either create your own version of the 5x5 or do a before and after of yourself with it. Put it in here. One of the best parts about actually having this is that you're not forced to do what like the rest of the company has to do in terms of like they have to figure out how to use the resource that I created. They can build an event or a promotion around it. You can actually customize and tweak this and make it your own. Put in your font. You could recreate the whole dang thing and just use it as a template. If you sell a different product, you can follow this pattern, and it doesn't even have to be a product bundle. It could be one product that you are breaking down with those different graphics, or maybe you only have 3 of them. Like you can customize in all different ways, put in your order information, put in your promotions. And that is really your very first task when it comes to you in ClickFunnels, is you are going to decide what's in line with your sales system. What is going to serve you? What fits into your voice, your product, or your service? And you're going to make this one-page funnel customized for you, whatever that looks like. The very first assignment in that is to decide what that is and strategize out what steps you need to take. It's very easy to get lost in the minutia of it all and get caught up making a bunch of graphics. But if before you even fall down that rabbit hole, you list out what steps you will need to take, it's a lot easier to keep it all manageable, all right? It's just, I'm like, I didn't want to do that. Go back, go back. Hold on. Oh no. I just made this cup of coffee and a bug died in it. I'm just really glad that I looked down and did not drink that. Sorry. And you don't, that like whistled. Sorry guys. I feel like I have one of my dog's hair on my face and I keep trying to scratch it and get it off. You can also add them. Uh-oh. That is my son's school. hello, and they're this is another I can't talk. This is another headline. A really small little pop-up.